Hey guys, Reed here. In our next video we're going to be creating a Tableau dashboard. Now a dashboard is a way to show multiple sheets at once and manipulate them simultaneously using filters and other features of Tableau. But one thing I like to do before making a dashboard is going through and making sure I'm happy with how my sheets look. So the first thing we're going to do is name this sheet, and if you notice the way Tableau names a sheet when you don't do it manually is based on the sheet name. So we can actually do that by going down here and naming it business tax rate. Now, I like to always go through and center these, and that's just that way they're centered on our final dashboard. So right now it looks kind of funky, but once we move it over to a dashboard it'll look appropriate. And we'll do the same thing for our other two sheets. Okay, and now we have legends over here, as we would want, so that way on our final dashboard you actually know what we're looking at. Okay, so now that we're happy with our formatting, we can go over here and click this 4-quadrant button and say New Dashboard. Now there are a number of best practices when it comes to dashboards, but we'll just start with one and describe it as we go. So if you remember, hovering over these, we have one map, one tree, and a box and whisker plot. So a big part of this is just kind of being artsy and seeing what works. One quick tip is that maps are easiest to add first and then add other things around them to see how it looks. So I'm going to drop our map in and then drop in our energy tree. Now, as you can see, the way I've done this hasn't worked out that well for us. Our map got kind of squished over here and our energy tree is squished up here. So the best way to do this is to just kind of move things around and see how you do. So I personally think this looks much better. Both of them are larger now and you can actually see all the detail. Now Tableau gives you two options for dropping your sheets onto a dashboard. The first one is called tiled, which is what we did here, and if you notice these things move together as I was dropping additional ones on. For our business tax rate box and whisker plot, because it's long and narrow, I'm actually going to switch over here to floating. And what floating allows me to do is drop it wherever I want and resize it, outside of the constraints of the 4 quadrants that Tableau has defined for us. So we'll bring this over and put it here. And in order to move a sheet on a dashboard, you have to hover over this little gridded area up here. You can click and drag. Now, this one's actually a little bit easier to work with because it's long and narrow. We can just drag it down, and in order to see our legends, we'll drag it over. Now, like I said, a lot of this is based on how you want it to look, and unfortunately there aren't really best practices. But one thing you do want to make sure of is that everything is readable on your final dashboard, and you're not covering anything up. So we'll bring our map over just a little bit, and then we'll bring our legends that way. Now as you can see, we're having some issues here because these are both set up to be tiled. So I'm actually going to just go in and right click our map at the top and switch it to floating. And we'll do the same thing for our energy tree usage. So now we have the ability to actually move things around how we want. Okay, so we can move our legend over to the corner and do the same thing to our other one. And then we can move our energy usage tree down and resize it to how we wanted, and do the same thing with our map. The next thing we're going to do is go up to our menu bar, select dashboard, and drop in a title by clicking show title. Now because our map is up there and tiled, we're going to have to resize everything again. And while I do agree that this can be somewhat painful, in the end it is worth it because your dashboard will look much better. Alright, so here's our dashboard, and I'm pretty happy with the way it looks. Everything's on there that we want, and we can just finish up by giving out a title and calling it a day. Thanks guys, and we'll see you in the next video when we start to manipulate our data on our dashboard.